This way, they get to develop genuine allegiances with a shit ton of the planet, with with massive, massive chunks of the planet, especially in areas that are very resource rich. African countries obviously have rare earth minerals and a shit ton of raw materials necessary specifically for the future of energy. China having more favorable loans and having better relationships with these countries allows them to dominate, specifically in the field of renewable energy. It seems over time China is reacting to government action from the U.S., but I'm asking is when China does eventually take over, it seems like they won't fuck over poor countries the way America does. We don't know. I don't know that. You don't know that either. I'm not gonna say that that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't make a broad sweeping claim like that. I'm just simply reacting to what I have seen thus far.
Is now funding 2/3 of these airport projects.
China got rejected on these airport deals thanks to U.S. pressure, but they didn't give up. They started setting their sights on those rare earth minerals that we talked about earlier, the vital ingredients for your phone, your computer, and your electric car. China holds a near monopoly on mining and processing these minerals. So they see Greenland as an opportunity to continue that near monopoly, but also an opportunity to access the Arctic, another place where they can compete with Western interests. It started when this Chinese corporation made a deal to fund a zinc and lead mine in the far north of Greenland. It was all going to plan until the Australian owners of this mine suddenly decided to end their deal. Oh, and shortly thereafter, they got a $650 million check from the United States to fund the project. Once again, the U.S. blocked their rival from getting a foothold in the Arctic. Another Chinese company has had their mining licenses revoked entirely by the government of Greenland. So between this diplomatic pressure, as well as some local anti-mining political sentiment, China has been blocked time and time again from getting its foothold on this island.
China's words and actions raise doubts about its intentions. Beijing claims to be a near-Arctic state. Yet the shortest distance between China and the Arctic is 900 miles.
So yeah, the USA has made its stance very clear that they don't want China, a non-Arctic nation, to be meddling in this region, to be gaining a foothold in the gateway to the Arctic, this region that is opening up, that is becoming really important.
Yeah, America, on the other hand, has Alaska. So we are an Arctic nation. It is really funny for America to say this. Okay, why the fuck are you in the Middle East then, dog? Are you a Middle Eastern nation? Why are you in the South China Sea? What do you mean? Where is America not in? Okay, there is not a singular solitary place on this fucking planet that America doesn't have its tentacles. Like, what are we talking about? It's just a little bit of self-reflection, I think, is necessary in this process, but I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
And in addition to blocking China's efforts, the U.S. has also stepped up their own efforts to get more U.S. influence and presence in this place to prepare for the future of geopolitical conflict.
The U.S. is doing investments on its own, investing billions of dollars in military infrastructure in this region, including a $4 billion upgrade of that air and space installation in the north. They're also committing to military training exercise within the Arctic. The U.S. Army has been sending their soldiers to train in Arctic-like conditions to mimic what conflict might look and feel like in the high north. The U.S. government is offering millions of dollars in aid directly to Greenland to help them develop their mining and tourism sectors.
So yeah, once again, we see the struggle for influence playing out between great powers in all of these kind of hard-to-see battlefields. Loans, infrastructure, blocking trade deals, diplomatic pressure, military presence. This is kind of the flavor of modern conflict. I mean, not the Russian flavor of modern conflict, but like the great powers conflict plays out in these other ways, these hard-to-see ways, these bureaucratic, systematic ways.
But who cares about these big superpowers and what they want for Greenland? I came to the capital Nuuk to talk to my friend Kupanuk about what Greenlanders actually want. After all, this is their island. They should decide how it's used and by whom.
We are not just looking at the Western world through Denmark anymore, but we'll see more globally. So we're starting to realize more and more how lucky we actually are.
It turns out that about half of Greenlanders actually think it's a good thing that China is increasing in its power and influence around the globe. But when you ask them specifically...
Shut it down. Johnny, don't say... You're supposed to do the opposite. John...
about China investing in Greenland, they're more hesitant, with nearly 70% saying that they...
Oh, thank God. Okay, thank God. No. He saved. Okay, we're safe. I was worried for that his contract was going to dry up, saying stuff like, "Oh, well, half of the island natives are pro China, but 70% of them hate Chinese investment."
More an investment from... But a country like Greenland, which has such a fraught history with colonizers, also has reservations about Western interests here too.
And a lot of interests have been and are still being done colonial and decolonial nations. More and more things are just being shown now because people are more aware of their rights and more aware of the rights that are being violated.
So Greenlanders are waking up to their power in this situation, waking up to the leverage that they have in this new global competition. And while they might have their concerns about China and the West, they're looking for the best deal for their country.
The first ones must be our closest friends.
Where is the why didn't he mention what percentage of Greenlanders love American